let's go.
Be advised that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. Notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Courier Post on January 11, 2017, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mr. Burrell?
Here.
Mrs. Flody?
Here.
Mr. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. O'Connell?
Here.
Mr. Cattrick?
Here. Good evening, everybody. We have some action items to get started. A couple of resolutions, 2017-166. This is an approval to submit a grant application, executed grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Route 130 pedestrian crosswalk safety improvements. Have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next, we have Resolution 2017-167, and this is an approval to submit a grant application, executed grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the bikeway improvements to Hartford Road.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next is Resolution 2017-168. This is approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Hartford Road resurfacing Phase 2 project.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next is Resolution 2017-169. This is canceling interest on tax account for Block 11, Lot 3 due to a deed error.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next is Resolution 2017-170. This is the cancellation of the municipal lien for Block 1, Lot 31.02.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next is Resolution 2017-171. This is to resolution to approve a raffle license number 527 and 528, and a bingo license 2017-01 for Delran Fire Company number 1.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye.
There you go.
And finally, Resolution 2017-172. This is a resolution authorizing executive session to discuss the following litigation fair share plan.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flody?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. All right, so we have a number of items on the agenda, and we do have a closed session, so we'll try and move right along and get everything swiftly moved through. So the vehicle auction is the first item on the agenda. And Jeff, I'm going to ask you to talk about if there's any issues that we need to be aware of beyond what we have in the agenda.
No. In regard to this, there are 9 vehicles that are no longer in use. They're in the yard, and we've been going through govdeals.com in order to auction them off. We've gotten our best numbers from going that direction, and we're looking for an approval. If council's in agreement, we'll have a resolution provided for the public meeting.
Any objections? Okay, so I'll take that as council's in agreement.
Yep.
And we'll put that for approval in the next meeting. Next, we have a hardship waiver, as we so often do. For this one is for 58 Foxglove Drive, and there's nothing that I saw, Jeff, that was extraordinary or different from many of the others. They can't sell it, and they're looking for our help. Anybody have any objections? Is this one same situation where we need to put a resolution on the public, or we just
No, we don't.
we don't have to do that? So we can do that with a motion to do it, or just a
Just
Okey
confirmation
dokey.
that you've received.
okay? So we've received this request for a hardship waiver. Unless we have any objections, I'll authorize Jeff to do what has to be done to make that happen.
Just for clarification, we're not buying it. We're
Correct.
just granting the
Not-
waiver.
Yeah.
So that would,
That's one of
if
the
you were going to
options.
buy it, that's when you would have action, absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Not a problem.
Okay, so next we have the leaf compost situation, and this is kind of a real simple one in that really all we're looking to do is add this to the, what's the word I want?
It's a fee ordinance.
It's fee ordinance, that's exactly the fee I want, the word I wanted. So unless anyone has any issues, we need to talk about what's going on right now with the wood chips as well.
It's just be aware that when we do get wood chips, right now, we've been taking them to our Moriucci farm. One of the difficulties we have right now in the compost site is all those materials have to get off on an annual basis in order to allow us to bring in all the leaves that we pick up in October. So Moriucci farm has been accepting the wood chips, and the work that we've been doing, and Jerry explained it last meeting on the leaf compost. The product is amazing, it has value, and we're just looking to add this to anybody who wants to have it delivered by the truckload. We have it for wood chips, but we realize we don't have it for the leaf compost, so we'll just be adding it to the fee ordinance.
The compost is free, right, with the delivery?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There will still be leaf compost out at the spot here on the parking lot. People can pick up for free, but if you want to deliver the whole truckload for $40.
Okay, anyone have any objections? Moving right along. So next is a little bit more complicated of an issue, and this is regarding the NJEIT loan. And Jeff, why don't you update us on
I think I gave you a heads up on this, is that with the most recent sewer capital items, the Clay Street pump station, which is in the range of $1.8 million to $2 million, is one that we want to look at for the NJEIT loan. We run some numbers and some preliminary numbers, and there's no doubt that the NJEIT loan is going to save us some money. And they've changed the regulations on the NJEIT since we last used it. Some of the items that we had some issues with have been changed. I think they heard a lot of complaints on some of those issues, but one of the things is they changed the interest-free portion of the loan from 50 to 75%. So 75% of it is interest-free, only 25% is at market rate. There is an application that needs to be completed by the engineer and the bond counsel, and in addition, there's a piece of legislation that was passed called the WISE Act, which requires us, anytime we're going to do any capital items that are over $1 million, that we go through the process of checking out the numbers versus traditional financing. And in doing that, the numbers definitely point in the direction of the NJEIT loan is definitely going to save us money over the life of the loan. It should be in the area of $300,000 plus. So we're recommending that we do that, so that we want to make sure the council's aware of it, and we would have a resolution for you at the public meeting to authorize us to go ahead and submitting that application.
Jeff, according to the memo, the bond council is currently considering the resolution.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we're basically looking to have bond counsel and the engineer cut loose to do a little preliminary information before that they have to do in regard to the application. That's where we're going to take this.
Yeah, and we've said that the engineering authorization for the project is not going to change. We'd absorb all the additional administrative costs for doing the application and the administrative stuff with complying with the application requirements once you get the funding.
And that's one of the other things that's changed is before, even though you were getting a loan from them, you almost always had to take a bond anticipation note to get some of the funding up front. They're indicating that the payments will come much quicker, because if you have to do the bond anticipation anyway, it really reduces the value or the savings you get from NJEIT. But they're sent, all the information that's come out is those are some of the changes they've made, and forwarding or advancing some of the engineering fee money, which before they held back, so that you can take care of that before the actual construction takes place. So everything points in a direction, and once we get bond counsel's confirmation, we get those numbers out to you as well.
Do you have any objection? Good. So I take that as a, let's move forward. All right, so next we have this unusual situation on St. Hill Drive. So there's 3 properties, vacant properties, and now have a tax, past due tax burden of $139,000. The question here is, how do we want to address this? We will foreclose on the property. So is that the appropriate term, that we foreclose because of the taxes due?
The tax lien.
The tax lien. So we could do that if we
Yes.
wanted.
Yes.
So I know that there's, real estate has so many twists and turns. So I guess what my question, Jeff, to get the conversation started, is then what? Are these empty buildings?
They're vacant lots. There's 3 different
Vacant
lots.
lots.
There's 3 different lots that comprise approximately 6 acres owned by the same owner who has not been paying taxes on them. There's two directions that you can go. You can foreclose on the properties, and I've recommended, if you're going to do that we do an environmental before we foreclose on it. Or you can look at the possibility of contacting the adjacent property owner and see if they want the lien assigned to them. And one of the reasons I say that is because it appears to me that an adjacent property owner is actually making use of a good portion of one of the properties.
I have a question. Is this the piece that's not the railroad tracks side, the other side, just bordering Cinnamon?
Yes, between McCarter-Dolman and Cinnamon Border.
There's issues there. But we talk about border, there are definitely environmental issues there. But I know.
So it sounds like the next step would be to have someone take a look at that, see what the environmental issues are, and then come back, and then any of that, we can't make any movement until we know what we're moving on.
Well, the other issue is whether or not you want us to contact the adjacent property owner and see if they have an interest in it.
I haven't really heard
Is
it.
that, can we do that concurrently, or should we? We
Yeah.
can. Okay.
Jump on it before we even.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big issues is we want to get this off the tax rolls if it's going to end, because right now it comes up as an uncollected tax, a reserve for uncollected tax, which means we actually have to raise more money than we need because we're not going to collect these taxes. I mean, that's clear.
These were never satisfied with their certificates there, I guess, they didn't unsold.
No one purchased the liens, so they got assigned to the township.
Now, are we selling the lien potentially?
If we assign the
property
lien,
owner?
we would be basically selling the lien, correct?
Okay.
They would have to still go through the process of foreclosure. Correct.
Jeff, on the map that's provided, it shows 89, but in the,
There's 3 different
yeah, it's
properties
89, 91, and 93. We were at
Yes.
91 and 93.
right adjacent to it. They run from McCarter-Dolman to the Simonson lot.
Oh, okay, so all this blank area I'm
Yes.
looking at, that's that, okay.
I mean, and there may not be an interest in the adjacent property owner, but it's one avenue that we've undertaken before we've had this situation. It's been a long time.
Should I get you an estimate for phase 1?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so if we request from the owner and we get an estimate for a phase 1 environmental study, then we'll come back and decide which way we want to go.
I have a legal question. If we were to foreclose, we could really just sell the land off. We wouldn't have to take the actual possession.
That is a question I don't readily have the answer to. I'm not sure if you would just be selling for the amount of the tax lien. I'm not exactly sure if that would give you the right to possession.
Well, I'm saying that if it were, this was just my line of thought, is if there is an environmental issue, but we foreclosed and it was sold at auction, it would be sold on like an as-is basis, wouldn't be taking possession of keys.
I can look into this and get you an answer. Sure.
It's 89, 91, and 93. block one.
91,
Block one.
Block 89, 91, 93.
I'm good for you.
Okay, good.
Can you send that out? They have one on file.
Yes.
All right, so next we have the issue with the Diocese of Trenton and the sewer billing. They capped their connection, and it seems to me that this is kind of a normal. Why don't you explain it, Jim?
Sure. This is, it was at the cemetery. There was a small building there, I think, at one time, and it was demolished, and they had it capped, and they never requested that the township come out and inspect it. But we did send somebody out based on their recent letter, and it has been capped, and they indicated that they have no interest in ever putting anything there since it's part of the cemetery. The regulations for the sewer indicate that we would charge them a 1/3 fee each year anyway, even if it's capped, but the rationale is so that that be kept open so that they wouldn't have to pay a connection fee if they ever came back and decided they want to put something in there. Catholic Diocese has indicated they have no interest in ever putting something there, so from our perspective, it would be better to remove the account, to close the account out. We would just need resolution to say, and it's based on their letter of inquiry asking us to close it out.
They do understand that, you know, the connection fee is expensive, so if they decide to go there,
Yeah, it's
they're not
explained
going to
to
get
them.
that.
Yeah. We'll send that in a letter.
Okay.
That was my only question, so anyone have any objection to that? No? Okay.
So
Okay, so next is this proposal for professional consulting engineering services. Jeff, you going to explain this?
I'll start and then have Jim chip in here, but you've had a $2,10 energy audit completed, the 2016 Energy Savings Improvement Program that was completed by Schneider Electric, and they suggested some upgrades and improvements that might need to take place, and this is for this municipal complex, not as much the sewer. The engineer, discussing with the engineer, trying to determine the value of that report and what the next step would be, and felt the next step would be to have a consultant come in and examine in further detail those areas in the municipal end to determine what projects we could move forward with in terms of identifying, you know, which one is going to save us the most money and have a return on investment that's the shortest, so that we can kind of evaluate those on an even ground. The proposal from, and this came from Jim's recommendation on the firm, was $6,000 to complete the work. You have the background in terms of what the work that they would be doing is, and what we did is we have about $30,000 left in that line over the course of the rest of the year, and we anticipate that that should be in good shape.
Okay, so really, this is going to tell us which projects we should start with. That'll be kind of the low-hanging fruit,
Yeah,
best return.
yeah, Jerry Longo, Greg was here at the time when you guys first discussed the Schneider report, and, you know, I think it was decided that you really need an MEP that's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, you know, professional, a licensed engineer to evaluate the system, evaluate Schneider's report, similar to the way we did as the sewer engineers for the sewer plant. You know, I think our recommendations for a lot of the items at the sewer plant were not necessarily something that should be moved forward at this time. But we don't have the expertise to do that for your mechanical, electrical, plumbing system. So when they'll come in,
Strictly for this building.
strictly for this building, and they'll look at your system, they'll talk to Jerry, look at Schneider's report, and give you a list of things. So it's limited to Schneider's report. They'll just evaluate the system and tell you, you know, what you need to look at, give you some cost estimates, prioritize things for you. This way you can decide to move forward, revisit the Schneider report, if that seems feasible and makes sense, or look at other ways to decide how to move forward if necessary.
And fix the lighting in the courtroom.
What's wrong with lighting?
Improve the lighting in the courtroom so that you can actually see.
Well,
I think
that's,
they're gonna look at everything.
yeah, we already know, like, once they finish, because when the first electrical upgrade was done back in 2010, there's already, now they're going to LEDs, you know, that's automatically right on.
Not even gonna ask, Mike.
It's not.
Perhaps, Michael, you'd like to share it with the entire class?
I was gonna
Just
suggest
kidding.
adding more fans.
More fans?
That was my suggestion.
No, I mean, we joke, but that's what to look at issues where there's comfort.
I think
Improve
improving the heating and air conditioning both.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's for
Because so they need to be upgraded.
Then, if anybody has any points of discussion, anybody have any objections?
Then we would have a resolution at the next meeting.
Great. Let's do that. Flipping the page. Idea. So, in the never-ending saga of the issues on River Drive, Jim, I'm gonna let you update everybody on the latest, it's in the agenda, it's no secret.
Yeah, no, this is for our HMGP grant. This is our Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. These are grants that are issued every time there's a disaster declaration. So this goes back to Sandy. There's a lot of money that, you know, the federal FEMA put towards this grant for people to use to mitigate flood, potential flood impacted properties. Money was given to every county. Delran, we were able to secure certain funds for Delran, and one of the property owners we had on board, we had originally 3 property owners, and it was down to 2, and now it was down to one last, Mr. Acorn at 32 River Drive. And he was interested in moving forward to the point we had to get the appraisal. We got the appraisal, and it's less than what he's currently paying for a mortgage, and we kind of had a concern that was going to be the issue. And as soon as he found out, he basically said he's no longer interested, because he would have to agree to some sort of short sale and stuff like that. So now we're down to, that's it. You know, I don't know, my next step is to contact FEMA, find out if there's anything else we can do with the money. They're, you know,
So and included in the packet for everybody is the email from Mr. Alcorn, and where he explains that it would be, the numbers don't work. So this is just informational, we don't need to act on this, but you will
this is
contact FEMA, see if
informational.
we
I
can
will
do-
contact OEM and who administers the grant for us through FEMA and ask them what our options are.
And let them know that we did have interest, and maybe you can reference the letter and say the reason why we lost them, and so it wasn't our fault, we were pursuing it.
Well,
And we wanted-
I'll ask, because the money of the grant is more than the value of the appraisal, so I'll see if they'll allow us to increase the offer above market
Exactly.
rate.
Does the,
For us to utilize it.
does Mr. Alcorn have a price that he wants, that he needs to get? I mean, is it?
Well, from his email, it sounded like he was just looking to get
Just
Break
break
even.
even?
on the board.
Okay.
See, there's a little catch to it too, because it's only 90% federal sponsors. There's got to be a 10% non-federal cost share. So he would actually have to agree to a number that's 10% less than, you know, he would have to automatically discount us 10% of the purchase price. So we purchased it for, we agreed it for a sale of 150, he would have to agree to only accept 135, or the
Okay.
township would have to make up the difference.
Okay.
So it's 90% of the appraised value?
Technically, yes.
Because the reason the appraised value really wasn't that far away from what he said his mortgage balance was.
Yeah,
Not terribly, but if it's only 90%,
And it's gonna be
the
another-
overall project cost that we're only gonna get reimbursed 90% for. So, because the project cost also incurs the demolition cost, the legal cost for title, the environmental inspection, survey, and stuff like that. So that's all tacked on too, and you get 90% of it.
And then Jim, what happens to the land after the house is demolished? It just remains part of the township
It'd
property?
be township land for you to do what we wish
Just
for
leave it as-
recreation open space.
Okay.
Mostly just open space.
You'll come back.
But we have to maintain.
I'll reach out for OEM and see what we can do.
Okay, so we'll have reports, and then motion to go into our closed session. So Jamie, you have anything for us this
The
evening?
only item I have is the rabies clinic is scheduled for Saturday, October 21st, from 1 to 3 p.m. It's, I think, one, I'm not sure if it's on Facebook, but if not, I'll get it on there, but it is on the township website.
Okay. Great. Jeff, anything for us tonight in open?
No report this evening.
Okay. Jim, anything for us? in
Just
open?
real quick, I'll just say the road program is moving forward. They're pretty much finished with everything over in Tempe Chase. They should be done with concrete work on Drexel this week and starting with the road reconstruction on Drexel this week. And then the concrete crews are moving to Main Street. They're supposed to be done in about 2-3 weeks. If anybody gets any complaints or any comments from residents, just please let me know so we can address them. Other than that, and then the Route 130 sidewalk started. They started from the Simmons inside, got all the way up to Dunkin' Donuts, and then they're moving forward.
And the people are, I've had quite a few calls, people are thrilled for us.
Yeah.
Really
Okay,
happy.
good. That's
Really
good to hear.
happy,
Yep.
yeah, really happy.
We are getting, right, they're saying the roads are really nice.
We're not here today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did get one email from somebody who was positive.
I received two.
Right.
Too positive?
I received two.
I get.
Yeah, we're getting calls on the roads are very nice.
All right, good.
We'll leave it
Thanks.
at that.
You know, matter of fact, Jeff and I today, Jeff received an email, and I was on copy, somebody in Oxford that was very happy with the roads, look great, and it's good. So, you know, there's always with the road program, especially as big as the one we did this year, there's always going to be folks that have comments and questions and concerns.
Yeah, just the toughest part is the curbs inside an apron. You don't replace them all. You know, some of them don't need to
And we
be.
can't, and also, we don't have this in the budget.
And I gotta admit, I mean, there's a tough call sometimes. You just have to draw a line somewhere, and we try to explain that to the residents as best we can.
Good, thanks. Brian, you have anything for us in open?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, so we'll go around to our members of council. Dan, you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I attended an interesting presentation last week with you, Gary, and Tyler, out at the county's recycling facility. There was a presentation given to us on issues and problems, not only for Burlington County, but for the whole state in terms of recyclable material. And then they gave us a tour of the facility, and I found it very interesting. Also, at the last meeting, we had been provided with a letter, and I'd like to thank the residents again. The county's informed us that our recycling program is one that produces, one, it's a lot of material, but two, it's also a clean material. People at the county were explaining to us some of the problems they have, the biggest being plastic bags put into the recycling materials, and they end up killing their machines and creating problems. And then there's a bigger global problem in that most of the paper and cardboard that we recycle goes to China. And I believe they said that material has to be 90% clean.
Now.
Right now.
Now.
And they're looking to maybe even up it higher. And it's obviously everybody knows how big China is in the market that it presents. If they don't take our material, it's going to create a problem for us in how we're going to dispose of recyclables. But I appreciated the county inviting us. I found it very interesting and very worthwhile. And that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, just to piggyback on your comments, just because the numbers that were striking to me was that we're at they needed to be 95% clean now, just what's supposed to be in those bales. And that it's supposed to go to 3, and then 0.8, 0.3, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're things that I learned, because we do have the great cap and bone debate at home about bottle caps, is that they say, no, leave the cap on.
Right.
And the reason for that is they do a 3D scan. I used to think, oh, crunch them all up, crush your cans. Don't do that. They'll do that. But if it's flat, it's difficult for the scanner to determine what it is, because a lot of that is 3D, and it becomes confused with papers and cardboards and boxes and things. So just empty it, put the cap back on, throw it in the container.
You know, Jerry last week said something that surprised me. He said that these have to come off the paper, the wrap. Then when the county
No.
got the,
No,
sent the
that
thing.
question was specifically asked.
Okay, it doesn't, yeah, because I
Yeah.
I know the guy that asked that question.
Yeah, that's right.
It was me, I said.
Yeah, because I was surprised when Jerry, maybe I misunderstood Jerry though, but,
We're there's very heated discussions about recycling in our house.
okay.
And this was the, I said, what about the ink and the printing and the paper and the labels? And they went, don't worry about it. Just put it in, just, it's empty, throw it in with the cap on. It'll keep it three-dimensional. That's what they told us, and they should know.
And Gary, I just wanted to add, because I couldn't find the figures when I was first talking. In Delran, we've recycled 1,464 tons of material at a savings to the town of, and the residents of about $118,000. That's not insignificant for a town.
It's a year?
Any town.
What amount of time was
That was in a year.
It was
A year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So just from personal experience, I find that we recycle more than trash.
Yeah, the other thing I
Recycle
noticed
than
too is they
trash.
can determine where the recyclable material comes.
Yeah.
So if you're sticking things into your recycling and it isn't, they're gonna figure it out. Not right away, but
They're trying to do some educational things, but
Yes.
they will start to, for council members especially, if you get that call that, hey, they put a sticker on my thing, didn't pick up my recycling, it's because they didn't do it right, and they're gonna start not taking it. The drivers are gonna put a big ugly sticker, I have a picture, that says, you need to not include this because it doesn't go well. And the issues that they have with the t-shirt bags, the bags you get from ShopRite, they cannot go and recycle. You can recycle them at ShopRite. There's a whole separate system for that. But that was, some of what they said was really remarkable information. And yes, it's a big green sticker, it's gonna look like this, that says recycling is not connected today due to contamination, non-recyclable items, trash, paper bags. They said you cannot believe people put trash, put doggy bags, and just unbelievable. So it must be removed prior to the next collection, and it's contact information that goes back to the county. But I'm sure that many people at this table will get those calls.
Did they say how we do compared to other towns? Are we doing very well?
Did we ask that? I don't
No,
think we
but
did.
I think it was provided to us last week in the information.
I have it, I can provide it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just
I think
curious.
it was a pretty large number, not
It
the
was.
largest, but it was really a big number. If you have that, Dan,
Let me see.
before we go into executive session,
Yeah,
we'll share that.
that's fine.
Good. Tyler,
Yeah, just a
Councilman
couple
Burrell, you have
things.
anything for us?
To add on to Dan's comment about the recycling, we learned that shredded paper actually goes to the trash. It's too small, go through the thing, so don't recycle shredded paper. It doesn't get recycled. Besides the fact that Delran Day was the hottest day of the year, it was still very good, and thanks Ken and the Business Association for that. And Joe left, but is Joe coming back?
I believe so. He said he was at the fire meeting right down the street. He was right back. I just texted him, so.
Do you want me to, I know Joe was going to talk about the tree lighting ceremony. Should we
Yeah.
maybe wait?
Ken, he may not be back.
Yeah, in case he doesn't come back,
Okay.
why don't
Yeah.
you just kind of give us the overview?
Yeah,
Because once
just-
we get through it, we have to go on.
Yeah, just real quick,
Exhibit.
I may, if it's okay, Colin was actually at the REC meeting, I'm just, may have that
Be
up
there,
there.
you. Be all
But
right doing
I
that?
can start teeing them off. What they recommended, they talked about having it here, different places, Community Park, Conroe Park. They recommended Community Park
Community Park, yeah.
to have it. In terms of the tree, they're still trying to plan if they would use an artificial tree or plant a tree. It would probably, if it's at Community Park, approved by council, we couldn't leave the tree lit there the whole time, so we would have the tree here, and that would be lit for the whole season. It would be more of a festival would happen there, hot chocolate, different games. Patty has a few ideas with that. The pictures with Santa, as we always do. A couple ideas were thrown around, so it's still in the planning process, but we're just looking for approval from council so they can start moving forward.
So so let me just ask, before I ask if they need approval yet, or if they're still
Sure.
kicking it around. So the festival, what was the term I heard, was the Winter Festival?
Yeah, they're still-
Would be there that night, there'd be stuff, now that we have the snack shack and the facilities, they could have it there out of the way, no crazy hot like it is in here, and then that would be gone. The tree would go up, the tree would be undecorated, and we'd have something here.
Yeah,
That's the current,
that's the current plan. You'd still have to have something here for the whole season.
right.
That would either be something artificial or planned, that would just be for the ceremony, and then when folks left, we'd have to.
And if we
Take
had,
that down.
if we had vendors and stuff with for the food and stuff like we were talking, they'll be able to have access to the snack shack, and somebody will monitor that snack shack with
Yeah.
the vendors in there.
Yeah, absolutely, have the RAC.
I just want to make sure, because if they're using that facility, just want to make sure they're overseeing it, to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably the AA, I'm sure, would be involved with that.
Okay.
I don't know if they would be able to fit in a snack shack, just because it's pretty tight in there when you open it up. It's
Well, we're not
really
talking
tight.
it wasn't a lot of vendors any of it.
But what would you think of
Well,
the,
I mean, you can really only fit like 2 people in there.
Yeah,
I've
maybe
seen it.
one person, the AA maybe can sell something out of that for themselves.
So maybe we
like the
could
other
get you
vendors.
around it.
We
Other
can figure that out
Yeah,
at
we'll
the committee
figure it out.
level.
But the tree-wise, I think they were just gonna get something donated for now, because we don't know where Jake's Place is exactly going, so we were gonna ask engineering to see if they were, where that was gonna go before we would get a tree in place permanently. So we would probably just get something donated and then give it back to the tree service until Jake's
that's a
Place is
good
done.
idea. Or, I was over at Costco, they have big, if you wanted to buy something for every year, they have big pre-lit trees in different sizes that you could bring to the park, light it, then take it down, and then next year put it up again, unless you'd
Yeah.
rather a real tree.
Yeah.
I like,
you
I
know.
think the real street's nice if you had some place to put it.
Yeah, and, yeah, I'm sure long-term that would be the most sustainable option.
Yeah.
But, this year we'll see
Right,
what we can
with
do
the
with, we're
logistics.
still building on the phases, so.
I don't think they're asking the input of what to do and stuff, I think they're asking just whether or not that's.
Yeah, I mean, if that's
part.
okay, and then they can
Right.
pick a date and.
Is that it, just right now?
Yeah, I mean,
park's the
community
only
park,
real
and
big
if
step.
everyone's okay with that overall idea, and then they can plan the details, and we'll keep council updated.
Anybody have any objections?
Right.
It's a good idea.
Other than the new equipment that we were requesting as well.
Yeah, that's already budgeted for
Oh, for
the
the pictures.
the picture
Yeah,
system.
we already got that,
Yeah.
it's already allocated in the budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the pictures with Santa.
Yeah, we were using an old Polaroid thing, but it's very hard to get the film anymore, so we were gonna move towards the digital system.
Right, Joe has all that, and yeah, Joe's got that.
Yep.
Awesome,
We're good to go.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Mike, anything?
I just have one question, just to clarify for myself. Plastic soda bottles, you need the caps on?
Yeah.
Yes, I know it
It's a shock to me,
sounds,
too.
All right,
I asked it 3 times.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
don't flatten them, just don't flatten cans, don't flatten sodas, plastic bottles, just put the cap on. The whole thing is that it keeps them 3-dimensional. When they get crushed and flat, it screws up the 3D scanner, and it's hard to identify what it is.
Now, can I ask,
Thank you, that's all.
Yeah,
this could be a silly question. When they're putting this trash through, whatever, I'm so sorry I can't go, do they have people there that pull things
Yep.
out?
Yeah.
Oh, they
Dozens,
do?
dozens of people. Maybe, it was maybe 100,
I would say.
150 people.
it was
Really?
half of
It's
them.
digital and half of
It's
it's.
the recycle else.
Yeah, I mean, they really.
So there are, it's affiliated with the Occupational Training Center.
Yes, okay.
And these
That's
folks are looking at, and what took me was the speed in which the conveyor moves.
Right.
And they're throwing things in trash, throwing things across, boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And there's maybe 30 feet of them. And by the time they get to the last one's just looking for that last little bit. And at the end, there were giant bales of these things all crushed up, and it was, a huge bale.
Right.
That was just all bottles. It was unbelievable to see, really,
With
I'm sure
pictures
that they,
online.
yeah.
Do they run that tour, or do they make presentations periodically?
That's the first time they've reached out to us in a while.
And that's because, that their concern is, if, they go over, that recycling goes over in containers. So you know how big they are, this big as an 18-wheeler's, the trailer park. So when it gets there, some inspector opens it up. If he sees contamination, rejects the whole thing. It's gotta be shipped back.
And they told us they have, is it on a weekly or a monthly basis, people
Oh,
from China
I think weekly.
come to the facility to look at the material there. And they don't have for our town, but for Burlington County, the contamination rate was 8%. The national average is 15. So we're doing better by almost half. But as Gary said,
That's even better.
as Gary said, the Chinese are upping the percentage they want of non-contaminated material. It's gonna make it much more difficult.
Right, and to further compound the situation with paper, is that there are so few paper plants in the United States anymore, especially locally, that even paper is going up there, and that paper can't be contaminated. You know, you put a pizza box with spoils, and
Yeah.
it swirls the whole thing. They were phenomenal with what was pulled out of there, and just the volume of trash and contaminants until it got to the good stuff. So that's great. Okay, sorry to
No, thank you.
interrupt. There you go. So, Mike, were you all done?
No, thank you.
Okay. Patty?
Yes, I have a few things. I received a call from Mr. Gilbert that Sergeant Yancey passed away, and I don't know if any of you remember Sergeant Yancey, but he was a veteran that has come to our ceremonies for many years. He was 92, 93 years old. He served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. He was an amazing man. He also came to the high school to speak on, every year that we invited him. He was just a very special individual, and it's very sorry to hear his passing. They are going to have a ceremony for him on Thursday, but I just thought we'd like to know, he has been to our town many, many times, and he lived, I think up in Burlington City, Burlington, I'm not
I
sure.
think it's Burlington Township.
Township.
Not to interrupt you, Patty, but there was a great article in the Burlington County Times on Sunday, and then there was an article in today's paper on the editorial page about this
good.
gentleman. He was really something.
And I have to say, the students, when you ask them at the end of the year, about the speakers, he always came up because of his unique stories that he told, and he had just a great outlook on life. So I just wanted to let you know that. And then next, we had a meeting with Jake's Place here last week, I guess. And one of the things that came out of the meeting, concerned about, we're supposed to have trunk or treat. And Jake's Place isn't going to be doing trunk or treat this year.
We don't know yet.
Oh, I thought from the
We don't
meeting.
know yet.
Well,
That's
can
why, I'm just saying, we don't know yet, just reaching out to them. That's what I'm saying. This
But,
was,
okay, well, I'd like to finish by asking that, I thought Joe would be here, I thought maybe the RAC could pass that, could do that. My understanding was that, I think the town should have trunk or treat. A number of people are looking to do it, and I think if the RAC would take it on, because I think it came under the RAC anyway, so I don't want to dump that on you, but a number of people contacted me, they heard different things, are we having it or not having it, and I think we should definitely have it, and I'm hoping that,
we are gonna be having trunk or treat, it's just that we're waiting to find out if Jake's Place wants to handle it, or it will be done by the RAC.
Okay.
So Jeff is gonna be reaching out to them since he's the liaison, he'll be talking to them about it. That's where that is.
But, okay. At that meeting, I just thought it was, I thought they made it more clear, but I
Del
guess.
Rande was the discussion, not trunk or
Well,
treat.
let me update you, because I did get a hold of Art with Jake's Place, and he indicated, I wasn't going to report on it tonight because I'd like to give them at least a day to think about it.
Oh,
But
okay, I didn't know.
I did speak with them, and he did indicate that they had that wine or don't wine
Yes, that's what
scheduled for that weekend, so that they did not think they'd have the volunteers. So he said that they were not going to do it,
Yes.
but I said, let me send you an email confirming this, and because we had a telephone conversation, so I did send him an email later, so he's going to check tomorrow, just to make sure that that's
Oh.
fine. But they've basically said that
They couldn't, that was my understanding.
They can't do it, but I'll confirm it to all of you guys once I get a written confirmation from them.
Okay, good, well, because that's what I thought they said, that they had a number of events. And last but not least, now that the roads are being done, when do we start looking at, because I think it worked out really well this year by doing them in, as we said, in the groups. When do we start looking at them for the next time? Like, when should we start looking at the next set of roads? Because in a couple weeks we'll be done. When do you start picking new roads?
Actually, not, like, maybe like a month or two now, Jerry gave me a list of his potential roads that he thought were necessary to get done, and I didn't have a chance to look at them yet, but I was going to actually talk to Jeff about that soon, because we want to get that list, look at ourselves, because we got to core them to find out what's there in order to come up with a plan, how much it's going to cost to do what, and then we can put together a list, so.
Right, remembering that this road program is 2 years put
Yes,
together and
yeah.
is huge in comparison than to most others. So,
But I mean, I think it
but,
works so
yeah.
well because we plan, you know, you
Yeah.
did all the research in the roads, that if we could do that again for the next road program, we'd save money and get a lot done.
Well, just remember one other thing is this year you did in the temporary budget, you put your capital improvement fund money into temporary, and you also did a temporary capital, which you have to do if you want to do the kind of timing we did on this one,
Okay.
to meet those
And,
deadlines.
Jeff, I think,
And part of, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
you know what I'm saying, but part of the issue is you would be doing that before you know what the budget numbers are for the year. We knew going into this year that we were going to be in good shape. We had a slight tax reduction. But, you don't always know that this far in advance. But, I mean, you certainly can do it.
so I'm going to ask you to stay on top of that. The timing was, I know that you guys worked really hard to get this to happen. In essence, it was 2 road programs smushed into 1 year, and it had to happen fast and it had to start early, and you guys were able to pull that off, crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is. I didn't mean to hijack your report, Patty.
No, good.
But
I just like the way it
but,
worked.
yeah, it's, I think that's the way we'd like to see it. I would like for 2018's road program to be paved in 2018 if possible.
Yes.
That's, okay, because we,
And you will have to do it the way you did it this year.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think anybody had any objection to that. So,
That's
so-
all.
So I think, and I don't really want to talk about trunk or treat, but I think that someone incorrectly indicated that it was not being done. And it was
That's what I said.
Grist
Yeah,
for the
totally.
mill for Facebook. And I would suggest that it wasn't reinstituted because of the comments on Facebook, which, people were saying.
Right.
But it was actually never canceled.
Right, and that's what I told
It was just a matter
people.
of who was
That's
going
what I told
on.
people.
It's been, shared by a number of different organizations, and it may settle down to one, or it may rotate, doesn't matter. It's not canceled, it's
Right.
happening, it always was. So, sorry about jumping in on you. I have no report this evening. Ken, you have anything for us?
The only thing I would just want to bring up is about Delran Day. I want to thank Mike Anderson for basically running the event again this year. I know he has a lot of things going as the Business Association president, and then trying to get this in after he does his stuff with the Business Association, which makes it very tough. But he did pull this together again very well. And I think, I'm not sure, but I believe that he's looking at this possibly being his last year. I know Nick did it prior to him. It's a lot of work for one person. So I'm going to tell you, I believe that also may be transitioned over to the RAC with the help from everybody, I guess, I'm sure, on council and everything else that, everybody else that can help to put it together. But other than that, I also want to thank all the vendors, the police, the fire, because I'm going to tell you, they were all there. It was hot, yes, it was very hot. And, but again, I think it was pretty successful. I want to thank Tyler and the music crew and Colin, right? You guys did a great job as well. It's all donated time. And it's unfortunate, some people take it for granted, don't realize what's really put in there, but I just want to let you know, we appreciate all the work that was put into it. So thank you very much, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thanks, Ken. And this was the first year I wasn't there because business travel took me very far out of state, and I'd just like to personally thank Tyler for doing all the stuff that I would normally do, and I appreciate it. And it went so well, perhaps if I schedule again,
I may have to call it.
it's not as big a deal as it would have been. Actually, I hope to be there. I enjoyed that day. So at this point, I'd A motion to open it up to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we do what we always do. Alan, anything to add? No. Joe is back. Anything to add, sir, as the RAC president? I was hoping for a report, but we already kind of got it.
Right.
You have anything else to add besides what?
For tree lighting? You want over it?
Yeah.
We're good to
Yeah.
go. All right, sorry, I'm in another meeting down there too, so
Okay.
we lost all track of that. That's good, that's fine. So, no problem whatsoever.
Right.
Out of town took you to Holiday, so that's not that far away.
Took me to where?
Holiday ice cream, I saw you have ice cream.
No, you didn't.
I'm only teasing.
Might have seen me in Miami at a
Yeah, I know,
conference.
I know. No, just with the tree lighting, so we get that squared away, so we
Yeah.
can move forward with that.
We did say it was okay to move to the new location, the community park.
Yeah.
And if you need to mark out as to, all those details, we said okay, so
All right,
you're
good.
good. You can do that
That's it, that's all I
offline.
needed.
Great. Great. Anything? No? Anything? Anything?
Chuck Stahl, 184 Natalie Road. So I had two things. The first question is for the Leafs, the truck. What size truck is that? Is it like a pickup or do you
With
know?
the size of the leaf delivery for $40, that's what how much leaf compost do they get? 40 cubic yards, is it?
No, that's too much.
That's too much.
I was gonna say $1 a yard sounds pretty good.
It's $40.
You want leaf compost?
I live in a condo, so it doesn't do
And,
anything.
you know,
But I was just curious.
most people
because
don't
it
get
said
jet
truck.
lag from Miami, but I landed at 5:10.
I think it is. I
I
think
was
it's
gonna
a
say I
6
have
cubic
a
yard
lot
truck.
of.
I'm sorry, what was that?
6 cubic yards.
6 cubic? Okay. And the second thing was, you were talking about the recycling and the wraps. I think what Jerry was talking about last time was the wraps that hold the cases together, like that stuff you can't recycle. So county sends out a notice every so often. They just sent out another sheet
Yeah.
like last week, and so I'm pretty sure that the caps are new. I didn't see that on the last one.
That's correct, because of the issue that they run into with, and, I was always told up until now, that flatten them, you could get more space,
Mhm.
blah, 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 the cans, now that we have the giant cans, it apparently is counterproductive.
Yeah, so I have to stop flattening my milk jugs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't bother
Well,
with because it's
yeah.
small enough, but
Are the milk jugs good? Are they recyclable?
Yeah.
The plastic milk jug?
as far as I
Yeah,
know.
no, yeah, leave it, it's,
Yeah.
a little better, but.
So I'll just have to
Caps
take
are
it
good.
out to
The caps
the
are
thing every
recyclable.
so often.
I won that argument with Mrs. Catherine. And, they're moving right along. They do a heck of a job, and the biggest issue is waste, is the wrong stuff in the bucket. So they're gonna try to fight that at the bucket level.
That's it.
Well, I think the letter they sent out was very nice, very informative with the pictures and the different things. I guess we just have to keep reiterating that to the people.
Yeah, I've got mine's hung up on my bulletin board in
Yeah,
my
that's a
kitchen,
good
so I
guess.
so I look at it every so often.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, seeing no other people that could potentially have questions, I'll ask for a motion to come out of the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are back in our regular meeting. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Oh, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are in executive session right after this brief message. Oh, there's no commercials.